Jojo Rabbit. I loved this movie.
Talk about a movie that's going to wind up... It's probably going to be in, like, our favorite movie. Not the best, but our favorite movies.
This legitimately may have overtaken Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for my favorite movie of the year. I had a lot of fun in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I could watch it again, but this
is a movie I'm going to buy the day it comes out.
And you can watch it any mood you're in. Mm-hmm. It's to me, it's in that kind of Forrest Gump pantheon where it's like, it touches on so many emotions and genres that no matter what mood you're in to kind of watch, you'll be invested and on board for.
Yeah.
I loved this movie. It just, in my opinion, it's if Wes Anderson adapted a Kurt Vonnegut novel, because it's like there's a ton of satire in it that is hilarious. Mm-hmm. Like the opening shot, the opening credits it's footage of Hitler
being just mobbed by people while Beatles music
isn't it like playing. I Want to Hold Your Hand or something is being played. It's like old school Beatles music's being played, and it was just like, that is perfect. That is this immediately I turned to you and I was like, this is what I want this movie to be, and it delivered for me on every level. Where to begin?
It's just it's really funny. It's got its funny moments, but it's so sweet.
It's so
the
sweet.
Sweetest movie.
Oh, man.
And on top of that, it's the subject matter with it being... And you have to realize, like, stuff like this happened.
Yeah.
Like, this is real. And there are moments in this movie...
But they play it... It's so quirky that you, like, this isn't true.
And then there's moments that hit hard.
But see, that's where I remember... I had read some reviews after we saw it last night, and some people were kind of complaining that he was taking this subject matter so lightly. And while he takes the whole thing of Nazism and how
he was making fun of
Nazis and how stupid and dumb they were.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, when it was a serious moment, when something happened to a character or something within the movie that was serious, he didn't play it for laughs. He was not making fun of anything. And you're right. There are certain moments in this movie that hit hard, and when they hit, you know it, and you're like, "Fuck!"
Yeah.
It was. I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. The kid, he was so charismatic. He was so funny, and he was a really good actor. Throughout the movie, they did a great job of him just hating. Like him having the mindset of being a Nazi. He wanted to be like top Nazi.
Yeah.
He said he reserved the spot of his best friend
for
Hitler. And his actual best friend was hilarious too.
Yeah.
The kid with the glasses. I think it was like Fiordi or something. It was some German name. And then to see him slowly transition into realizing like, no, what they're fighting and advocating for this is dumb. This is stupid. And it was that they handled that really well.
It's dumb and stupid. It was just his transition of realizing there's more to life. Like,
no, that you're exactly right. But
yes,
through that transition of realizing what he was so proud to be was actually not
a Nazi,
not being a Nazi, and that there was so much more.
There's so much more to being human.
Yes, and it's so. Every aspect of this movie is it's fun. Like the parts that are funny, and how when he first meets the Jewish girl and she's playing into like, we sleep from the ceiling like bats, and like, we can read each other's mind, and like that whole thing was hilarious. How they had told Nazis were telling kids like they had scales and devil horns, and it makes you wonder like, were they telling kids this? I don't know. If they were, that's hilarious in hindsight. It's insane.
I don't think it was to the extent they portrayed in this movie, but yeah, there was a lot of that kind of stuff.
Because that shit, Sam Rockwell, God, he was so. I kept thinking like, oh, that's gonna be the end of his part, and he kept coming back, and every single time
you liked him more.
Oh, well, you especially. Do you want to kind of touch on spoilers? No.
These people need to go see this.
They do need to go see this movie, but especially by the end, there's a couple events. There's there's two things in particular that happen.
Most of what happens with him is played for laughs, and he's kind of, I don't want to say a drunken buffoon, but he's a drunken buffoon.
He's a drunken buffoon. He's someone that, he says he wants to fight on the front lines, but it almost seems like he doesn't.
Yeah.
You know? But there are two things at the end, in particular, that are... You realize, this guy is a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, as the movie goes on, you realize more and more people don't necessarily agree with what's going on. People are just trying to survive.
No.
And that's something that if you read the history on it, the Nazi regime, it was so quick.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, a lot of people categorize Germans in that time just as Nazis. And that's not the case. No. I mean, it was... there was a huge amount of Nazi supporters.
As evident of that opening credits.
Yeah, and they were, Hitler was this leader.
He was treated like a god. I mean, that's how
he was going to bring that. They were less than a third world country after World War One, and he was this figure that was going to lead them out of that.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
And
then it just kind of went downhill.
Crazy. Meth's one hell of a drug.
Yeah, that is true.
But, that's neither here nor there. The point is that, yes, they had a huge following. There was also a huge number of people
that were like, I don't agree with what this guy's doing.
Yeah. Well, they were normal people just going, we're letting this happen?
Right, yeah. And it's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then before, it was so quick that all of a sudden, before those people could do anything about it, it was
already happened.
It had already happened.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like in the situation when we're now, where it was like, he's not going to get elected president, and then
you're like, oh shit, he got elected president. Okay.
Yeah, and we're not taking political sides here. That's our point, is that it happened so quick.
It was by the time you realize, this is actually happening. It was already in motion. It was like it's too late to stop it now.
Yeah.
God. And on that note of people disagreeing with what Hitler was doing, Scarlett Johansson was great in this movie.
Oh yeah.
The scene where her and the son are like kind of fighting, and then he says like, "I wish Dad was back," and she starts playing the part of the dad. That was so great. That was something. It was one of those moments where I realized I hadn't seen Scarlett Johansson in a non Marvel movie in so long, and to see her be something else, and it was really refreshing, and she was great. Every actor in this was great. There was no one that was like bad. I thought they were perfectly cast. Even I don't really care for Rebel Wilson, but she was really funny as like the Fraulein that is so pro-Nazi.
What's the Game of Thrones?
Alfie Allen.
Yes, and I don't think he says a word.
He does. He follows up. Well, they insinuate that him and Sam Rockwell might be gay. Yeah. And when I say insinuate, it's pretty heavily hinted at, because there's a scene where they're sitting there staring at each other, and then they have to break their gaze,
and they're really into fashion.
Yes, because Sam Rockwell's like, see, he goes, this is the uniform I'll be wearing, and it's like it has feathers and stuff. Oh, it's so great.
The hat feathers to make me more aerodynamic.
Yes, it's so good. It is so good. Oh man, and then first of all, this is. I can't believe we haven't said this. It's directed and written by Taika Waititi, who directed and he directed Thor 3, and he directed and wrote Hunt for the Wilder People, which it's a long, as far as this feeling that you get from the movie, it's just sweet, it's funny, it has a serious moment. Hunt for the Wilder People is very similar. And he directed and co-directed and co-wrote, which I think is one of the funniest movies in the past 10 years, which is What We Do in the Shadows. So, just based on those three movies alone up until this point, I was like, this guy is great. Mm-hmm. And when I saw what this movie was, just the trailer, I was immediately like, God, this is going to be great. And I remember walking into it thinking, I hope I didn't, overhype myself. And I didn't at all. It delivered everything I wanted, and his portrayal of Adolf Hitler is so
And it's his
funny.
Portrayal of how a 10-year-old boy thinks of Adolf Hitler.
Oh, and there's the whole thing.
Eating unicorns for dinner.
Yes, he goes, I need to get back. I'm having unicorn head for dinner. And you're like, the part that slayed me, I kept dying, was Whenever the kid was stressed out and he'd be talking to Hitler and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do, Hitler would always offer him a cigarette. He's like, cigarette? And the kid's like, I'm 10! Like, I don't smoke! I kept laughing every time that joke was played. God. That's my point, is where there are several... It is funny on two different levels. There are lines that are hilarious. Like, it reminded me of Hunt for the Wilder People or What We Do in the Shadows, where it's just, there are jokes that are really funny. But then on a overarching level, the satire behind it is so funny that it's just like, when you think of the whole situation of what's going on, you're like, this is just like comedy gold. And then to add in the seriousness of there are certain parts that are just, like we said, they are gut punches.
Yeah.
And one in particular...
I mean, we were in a theater last night with maybe 15 people.
And there's one scene in particular where something happens.
And everybody in the theater goes, oh no.
And you either heard that or you heard... Yeah. Because it happens so quickly.
Yeah.
You don't... It's in the middle of a scene that you think is something else is happening, and then it just happens, and you're like, oh,
and
fuck.
Yeah.
And it hits you. Like, you didn't have time to get ready for it, so it's like, oh, shit. God.
And there are a couple... That particular moment hits the hardest, but there are several moments throughout this movie where you have to... You don't take a step back, but it reminds you
what they're going through.
Yeah, well, what the subject matter is, reminding you what is actually...
Like, these were terrible times.
Yeah.
You know, and it was... See, that's where I don't understand the complaint that it was almost... It was like, it's super inappropriate. See, I thought it was handled with a lot of care.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think it was as inappropriate as I read some reviews, said. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the humor is inappropriate because they're making fun of this period of time, but they don't do it so much that you shouldn't laugh at it, in my opinion.
No, I thought it was very well
I thought it was handled very well. I think... I don't want to dive too much into spoilers. I thought Thomasin McKenzie as the girl, I thought she was really good. Mm-hmm. And this whole movie's filled with, not filled, but more importantly, there's the two kids. It's a character arc both ways. Like the little girl realizes that he's not a Nazi. He's just a 10-year-old boy that doesn't know anything about the world. And he's slowly realizing
that's part of the whole... There's a whole
portion
of the movie.
We're just humans.
That's what Scarlett Johansson's deal.
Yeah.
Is the fact that her son is a 10-year-old and is a Nazi, but like she doesn't want to take that away from him, like
because he's happy.
Yeah.
He's so happy.
And his dad's not there anymore.
Yeah.
And like she doesn't want to with everything bad going on, she doesn't want him, and he's picked on, and he's she doesn't want to take that. She doesn't want to take something else away from him, but at the same time, she's looking at it going, these people are nuts.
Yeah.
And
we didn't touch on why he's getting picked on. That scene where he basically blows him. Just that shit was so... And Sam Rockwell's like, don't do what he did.
Well, that part, but the funny part is he's running with Hitler through the woods.
And Hitler's...
Yeah.
Oh, man. What would you say is, unless it's a spoiler or anything, what would you say is the favorite part, funniest part?
I can't even give one.
Well,
there's so many parts, because you could say, it's a funny... The whole part where they're at the camp.
The camp is really funny.
At the beginning.
Because they're teaching them, like, they have devil horns, and then it shows them, like... But then there's the scene, which is explaining the title of the movie, Jojo Rabbit, is insanely serious. Like, it seemed funny at first, and then you're like, God, like, but they did shit like that,
yeah.
And then
you have a scene I thought was another impactful scene, which, like, really gets him thinking, is the scene about love, where Scarlett Johansson's talking to him about love along the riverway. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a really good scene.
I like how that was shot, too, because it was like, there was a super wide shot, and they were only, like, in the bottom corner. That's why it reminded me very much of, like, a Wes Anderson film in that way. Mm-hmm. Because the shots were interesting enough to keep you visually stimulated, along with just the subject matter, which was great.
Yeah.
I don't know, I thought there's the scene with Stephen Merchant I thought was really funny, where they kept... There were so many people...
is what a 10-year-old boy is.
Oh, he's looking at the Hitler poster. But also, it's how whenever, because there's like a bunch of Nazis that come into their house, and they keep saying Heil Hitler, but then everyone has to say it to everyone else. So you hear, seriously, in that scene, you hear Heil Hitler roughly 45 times.
And the funniest part about it is they go, Sam Rockwell comes in and goes, so what I missed? He goes, well, they Heil Hitler.
And then we Heil Hitler. And then he Heil Hitler. And then he's like, oh, well, Heil Hitler. And they do it all again. See, that part, that really made me laugh too. But there are several moments that I'm not going to get into that I actually enjoyed the most. I'll say this, I mean, I wasn't bawling crying, but I had tears in my eyes, man. Like, there were 2 moments in particular where...
I don't know if... It's emotional.
You didn't...
I'm not going to say I, like...
See, I did...
Crying.
I wouldn't say cried, but there were definitely, like...
You get misty-eyed. Like,
yeah, it's that... It was kind of the feeling... There's one moment where it was kind of sad, but there's a certain moment, and it's near the end, where you do kind of... It's that Wonderful Life feeling where it's just like... It's like almost a celebration of life, which is just so kind of beautiful in a way that it was effective to me. I think I'm gonna have to give this an A. I'm not gonna give it an A plus because it's not. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but it's for me it's as close to like perfect of a movie that I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I give it an A too.
Like
it has its flaws. Like there are moments where sometimes like hold on, I want to get another scene that I thought was hilarious.
Okay.
When they're swimming and Hitler's in the pool with a gun.
That shit, when it shows him, and everyone else is like synchronized swimming, it looks like, and he's underwater and he has a gun. I turned to you, I was like, he has a fucking gun. It was so great. Oh my god, that part. There's so many parts in this movie.
Or the German shepherds.
No, I mean the dogs, not German shepherds.
And
it shows like shepherds.
Shepherds.
He goes, it's my fault. I didn't clarify that I needed a dog.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was so good. I'm telling you, there are so many jokes that are just land and are so good, but it is.
This is an A.
It's an A.
This is an A for me too.
Thinking about it, and I'll let it sit. We saw it last night late. It hadn't been too long since we've seen it. But right now, I do. I think this has been my favorite movie of the year.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I wouldn't say without a doubt. Like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a favorite. It's up there. It's close because of different reasons.
Yeah.
But...
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say it's without a doubt one of my favorite movies of the year. Now, I'm not going to sit there and say it's the best movie of the year, or it's the best made, or it's the best written, or the best acted.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just things I've enjoyed going to see.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to immediately... I almost turned to the projector, was like, run it back. Like, I wanted to, but, yeah. I love this movie. Go see this movie.
I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters.
Yeah, because, I mean, there weren't a whole lot of people... I mean, it was a super late showing, but there weren't a whole lot of people there. Highly recommend go seeing it. It is hilarious. It is sweet. It is... It caters to whatever emotion you're wanting to feel, it will give you that emotion, in my opinion. I cannot recommend it enough. Yeah. I seriously can't. Yeah. So, that's our take on Jojo Rabbit. It's one of our favorites of the year. Go see it, and catch us next time with OurTake. So, see you later.